everyone, today I'll be sharing to you guys about being diligent. Now the meaning of diligent is to finish every task because the Lord gave it to me. And the verse for today's topic is Colossians chapter 3 verse 23. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. Let's talk about diligence over laziness. We may have often given into laziness, which displeases God. Every day is a battle to defeat laziness and manifest diligence. Whenever you catch yourself being lazy, urge yourself to work diligently. It may be tiring and hard, but working diligently will give you rewarding results. Laziness, on the other hand, will give delays and consequences. Now, laziness and diligence, obviously, they're very different. They're like opposites. And every day is a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual battle because have you heard that saying before that an idle mind is the devil's workshop? I remember somebody told that to me, and it really struck me because it's like if you're lazy, the devil has an advantage over you. So you have to remember that you have to be every day is a spiritual battle, and one thing you can do is by defeating the devil is through diligence. So we just have to make sure that we become diligent and not lazy. Now let's go to the next slide. How do we win diligence over laziness? Count the number of times you were slacking off and repay yourself by working extra the number of times you were lazy. Every time you reach a diligent milestone, reward yourself with something small and enjoyable, such as a badge or candy. What did I mean to that part? Anyway, so yeah, that's just one of my suggestions that you can do if ever you're having a hard time being diligent and for some reason you have just been very lazy. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying if ever you have, this is my suggestion. Just like get a checklist and just slash every time you find yourself slacking off, and the next day you can just like count how many times it was, and every time it happens you can work an extra mile. And whenever you do, you can reward yourself with something that's small and enjoyable. Okay, now let's go to the 3 ways we can practice diligence. Number 1, we can practice diligence in school. Now, probably a lot of you guys watching are still in school, so when was the last time you put your homework to the last minute? If you have a couple of times, then it's time for a change. Before you do anything else like watching TV or playing video games, prioritize your homework and do it first. In the classroom, listen attentively and to the teacher and review tests thoroughly. Now, diligence in school is very important because school is kind of like it's a preparation for the real world, and it's like what you practice in school, it will manifest later in the future when you grow up already. So, a very good way to start to practice diligence is by starting now, whether you are in school or work. And if you're in school, then practice diligence in school, and it will pay off in the future, or pay off now. Aim for high grades, but just make sure that in everything you do your best. Maybe you don't have to, even if you don't get a high grade, if you do it your best, and if you know that you work diligently, then you ought to be proud of yourself. And let's go to the next one. The second number, working diligently on our jobs. If you're an adult and working already, do you give into laziness? I hope not. Diligence is key to having a successful life. Whether you work as an employee or by yourself, diligence is essential. Once you practice diligence, you can influence others to do the same. Encourage yourself and others to live diligently. Okay, so if you're not in school and you're working, don't lose hope. You can still be diligent right now. Just make sure you start now by being diligent. For example, if you're working, for me, I'm not really working yet. I guess I don't really have that much experience. I'm not that age where I have a job, but I'll just try to relate. So let's just say you're working at a drive-through or something like that. The way you can be diligent is by putting a smile on your face, and every time you talk, you try to share joy with other people, with the customers that you're serving, and make sure that you be diligent in your job. I'm sorry, I don't really relate so much to working and stuff like that, so let's just go on to the next one, the third. Number 3, diligence at home. Imagine this. Your mom came home only to see that you haven't taken out the trash yet. How would your mom feel about that? Would she call her own child lazy? Chores are given to many of us, and it's our job to complete each one diligently. Sweep the floor thoroughly, wash the dishes joyfully, and feed the dog gratefully. Now, a lot of things start at at home. Like our relationship start at home, our attitude starts at home. A lot of things start at home, and also whether you are diligent or lazy. So, as I said a while ago, you can start diligence at school, but if you want to go to the core, you have to be diligent at home. Because a lot of things start there. Whatever you do at your house, at home, it will manifest in school. Whatever you do in school, it will manifest in your life. Whatever you're doing, it all connects. So you have to be diligent at home. And you have to make sure that you balance everything. It cannot be that you're super diligent and you're super hardworking in school, and at the house you're lazy and you're just a couch potato and you're not even working hard. It's very important to balance diligence everywhere. Make sure that you're diligent at home, at school, outside, in your work, in your job, with everything you do. Balancing diligence may be kind of hard, especially if you're interested in one thing and you're not interested in the other thing. You may be diligent in the other thing, but you won't be there. So just make sure that you balance it. And every time you're doing chores, a lot of us have chores, right? If you don't do chores, then maybe you should start now. Anyway, chores, probably all of us, not all of us, but most of us do chores, like whether it's washing the dishes or sweeping the floor. And one tip in diligence here is making sure that every time you have a chore, make sure that you do not have to be reminded. I struggle with this. I usually have to be reminded before I do a chore, and that's what I'm working on right now. You have to make sure that you yourself you are automatic in doing what you need to do. You are automatic in doing your chores, and you don't have to be reminded again. So let's conclude this. In conclusion, diligence is the perfect antidote to having a successful life. God is pleased when we work diligently. Whatever your hand findeth to do, do it with all your might. The Bible tells us to do things not with some of our might, but all of our might. Give 100% of your best to God through your actions and work. People who are slothful don't get far, but suffer loss. People who are diligent are successful. It's very important to be diligent. If you're a slothful person, then you're probably not gonna go far. Like I just mentioned a while ago, you could have financial loss, you could, be poor. But if you're diligent, you will have a very successful life. And diligence is the key to a successful life, because when you're diligent, you will reap what you sow when you're diligent. And if you do things diligently, then you will get rewards that are really worth it. So with that said, I just want to remind you all of our verse today. Our verse is Colossians chapter 3 verse 23. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. So thank you guys so much for listening. That is all for my message for today. Have a great time. I hope that you all are staying safe.